Coming up, I take a wee walk with a WeWalk.
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
I have been thinking about that line all weekend. How are you doing, Shaun Preece?
I'm amused, Stephen Scott. That was actually very good. Well done, you.
Thank you. They can have that one. If you want to, there you go. You could sell into the Scottish market with WeWalk. There you go. So take a wee walk with a WeWalk.
Yes, you've already said that line, but it's fine.
I'm
okay.
just saying it again, in case, the marketing team might be listening over there at WeWalk.
No, very proud of it, and as you should be, Stephen Scott. I'm really interested in this. I want to talk about it right now, but we got to get our, banter out of the way first. Our
fluff.
Yes,
fluff time.
Our fluff. Yes. It feels weird. I'm going to say it, to be back.
I know exactly what you're thinking. Because look, I have to be honest, dear listener, you have to understand something here. Last week, hello listeners. We had recorded a lot of the shows in advance last week, and that was. Yeah, I know, as shocking as that may sound, because we got so much feedback that we were able to jump in and record a couple of shows in advance, and that meant that when we came back from Site Village last week, we could take a couple of days off, recharge our batteries, and be back here today, ready for you. Ready for you. Sounds like a fight, doesn't it? I'm ready for you.
To come up with such gold as a wee walk with the WeWalk.
That's right, exactly.
We needed a couple of days to come up with that.
I did. It absolutely did not come to me in a dream last night at about 3 a.m. when I was probably awake. But yeah, so, obviously for that reason, a lot of things were happening last week that we were perhaps unaware of during the week. Mm-hmm. And we thought, well, we better address some of these issues today, on issues on the show.
Has there been issues?
There have been issues. I want to play you this. Just have a listen to this.
A teraz, co się dzieje z JOS i cenami? Dowiemy się tego dzisiaj. Słuchasz Double Talk, twojego codziennego programu o dostępnej technologii. Oto twoi gospodarze Steven Scott i Shaun Preece.
Cześć wszystkim, witamy ponownie w programie. Wróciliśmy po przerwie. Shaun Preece, czy miło spędziłeś wolny czas?
Nie zauważyłem tego, ale jestem pewien, że było świetnie. Dziękuję.
Co masz na myśli? Co mam na myśli? Nie dawałeś mi spokoju. To było jak bycie prześladowanym przez jakiegoś szkockiego dżentelmena.
Siemana she.
I don't know what language that is. I think it's French.
That
it could be Japanese.
Russian.
Could be Russian. I don't know. Anyway, that is exactly the level of confusion our listeners had a week ago today when the podcast, in particular the podcast, if you were listening on YouTube, you wouldn't have noticed this. If you were listening to us on AMI Audio, you would not notice this. But if you download the podcast and you subscribe to the podcast, you would be very confused last Monday when that happened, where our show became a different language. And when we found this out, and I will say our wonderful audience were in touch literally within minutes of the podcast going live.
Can I just say, I was very confused as well when we got those messages coming through.
Yeah, completely confused, right? Because it was like, well, what on earth is going on? Why is the show, I think it was in Spanish. I mean, that language, I don't know what one that is, but we were in Spanish, I think, at that point. Although there was a bit of a debate around that as well.
Oh.
And a lot of confusion around what on earth was going on. Well, look, lots of you got in touch. Laura's very kindly here with a summary of confusion.
Yes, there was some confusion. We got a lot of messages from the Double Tappers, starting with Gregory.
Esto es Gregorio. Numerica. Si no comprende.
And then Dean got in touch. What in the hell was the point of that 9-minute episode with presumably Jaws talking Indian? I'm sure Mr. F was extremely angry over this. Shaun's wages will need to be docked for that garble.
Yep.
We all know Shaun's to blame for these mishaps. Thankfully, I fast-forwarded to the end when I realised the Indian wasn't going to stop. But that's 9 minutes the Double Tap universe isn't going to get back in their lives. Johnny P was also rather confused during his lunch break when the show appeared to be only 9 or so minutes long and in what appeared to be Spanish. Biggles also wasn't sure what was going on.
I don't know what the hell today's episode is. It's some foreign language with people laughing in the background. Kind of makes it hard to listen. Maybe I'll try again in a few days to see if you get it right.
And Demi too wondered if this was an issue on her end.
I had an interesting experience when I tried to listen to the latest episode of Double Tap. I pressed play and something interesting happened. The language, I have no idea what language that was, but it definitely wasn't English, and it definitely wasn't either of you speaking, and I haven't changed any language settings. I'm wondering what on earth is going on.
Shane and Greg also got in touch to let us know what was going on. So, Stephen, what actually happened? And are you just going to blame Shaun?
Yes, absolutely, Laura. I'm going to blame Shaun because
that's not a unique experience, apparently. It's nothing to do. I wasn't even here at the time. Nothing to do with me.
Oh, I see that old line. I wasn't even here. I've no idea. I don't do anything around here. Don't admit it all out loud, Shaun Preece.
I believe when we heard and learned of this problem, we were editing furiously in an Airbnb in Birmingham.
That's right, we were. And it was a very, very confusing moment. We got in touch with our good friend Mark Aflalo, who helps us out with all of this stuff and makes all this background stuff happen. He was completely confused.
Yes.
So what actually happened? Well, look, we can tell you, as a result of this mishap, we actually learned about an amazing feature that we didn't even know existed as part of YouTube. So, very long story, but let me break it down a little bit. So,
please do.
When we put the show together, we put it together in 3 different ways. So we have the AMI audio version, which goes to AMI audio, and that's what you're listening to. Hello. Then you've got the podcast version. That is audio only, of course, and that goes to the podcast people. And then you've got YouTube, which is video, of course, and that's a different version again of the show, and that version goes off to the YouTube people. And, this all goes to the various places, and that's all fine. However, on Monday, we were traveling, and we were in Birmingham. Well, we'd arrived in Birmingham. And I forgot to bring my files with me. So I got a call earlier in the day from our good friend Mark Aflalo saying, look, I don't have the podcast version of the show. Can you send me it? And I said, well, I don't have it here. It's on my computer at home. Now, I will say, Well, it was my fault. Yeah, this part was my fault. Yep. So I love Remote Incident Manager from Numa Solutions, as you well know. I love it to connect into my computer. However, slight problem, don't put your computer to sleep before you go away. Because then it doesn't work. Can't connect to it.
Amateur mistake, Stephen Scott.
Rookie error. So I couldn't get into my computer. I was like, this is easy. I'll just jump into the computer. I'll get my file. No problem. Couldn't do it because the computer was sleeping. Anyway, got the file because Mark says to me, it's no problem at all. It's the same audio, essentially, that we use on YouTube. So I'll just rip the audio from there and we'll use that for now.
Makes sense.
It's perfectly simple, right? So Mark goes off and does this. Clearly didn't check it. And he puts it straight up onto the podcast feed. And we get 9 minutes for some reason of that.
Of Spanish. And I believe then that's Mark's fault. Good. Okay.
Yep.
Well
so
done.
that was to Mark's fault. However, we couldn't understand why. And it was because YouTube have enabled multi-language support on YouTube, right? So when you go to the YouTube video now in the settings, you can actually choose different languages. You can choose from German, you can choose from French, you can choose Hindi, Indonesian, you can choose a whole range of different languages now. And it actually changes the show output to that particular language, as you've just heard. So actually,
interruption. That's amazing, by the way.
That's brilliant.
Yep, fantastic.
It wasn't what we were expecting to happen, and we didn't know it even existed until it did.
It would seem that some of the tools you use to rip the audio from YouTube videos haven't quite got to grips with this new feature and may just grab random languages.
And actually, that's exactly what happened with. So I didn't have the original clip because we deleted it immediately once it was pulled. Once we realised it was wrong. But that was when I ripped that down today just to give you a sample of what it sounded like. And that actually, I don't know what language it picked. But I picked one language and it picked another, interestingly. So I don't know how it figures that out. But anyway, the point is, don't try and rip the audio from the show because it won't work for you. This is going to be a bit of a mess. But it is a really interesting feature on YouTube. So it does allow you now to, and it's doing it all by AI. And it is, on certain languages you can tell more than others. It is using a slightly different text-to-speech voice for each person. Harder to understand in every language. Sometimes it all just sounds like the same voice, but clearly it's going somewhere, and I think that's really interesting. I really liked it.
having that ability to reach more people in different languages is fantastic, and it's just an option that they've added. I think it's really cool. There's a lot of videos I watch sometimes, and I think they're in Urdu or Hindi. And I would love to, sometimes you can turn the subtitles on and go through that, but not always. I think it'd be fantastic. There's a lot of tech sort of demo ones. I would love to be able to change the language too. So, yeah, I think this is really cool. It tripped us up a little bit.
It did.
We're sorry. But again, thank you so much for everyone that did get in touch so quickly to let us know. And we did, Mark fixed it pretty quick as well.
Yeah, we got it sorted. But honestly, it was hilarious in the moment. We had no idea what was going on. But it was
funny.
It was also kind of nerve-wracking as well, because you're thinking, at first I thought it was the wrong file. It's like just random, some audio file from somewhere that was accidentally uploaded. But it was, you could hear in the words. And this is the other thing. So what it's doing is it's actually overlaying. Because someone had said, a couple of people had said in the messages, it feels like it is the show, but it sounds like a different voice. And it's what they're doing is they're kind of overlaying the text to speech on top of our voices. So you can kind of hear it in the background. That's why you would hear laughing. That's why you would hear us talking.
Yes,
but
I believe
it's really dulled it down, so you can hear the language.
Someone had said, I can hear Sean's terrible muttly laugh in the background, so I know it's the right thing.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, that's exactly what someone said.
Thank
They
you.
said, I heard Shaun breathing, and that was enough to annoy me.
So sorry, we can annoy you in many languages now. You're welcome.
Hola! That's going to be the new one. I think we should start every show now with hola. Just tease
Just
people.
to keep you on your toes.
It's that again. So who knows what language will come to you in today or tomorrow or next day.
Can I
Very
just
exciting.
say, very cool feature. Well done, Google. I noticed yesterday when I was, as I often do, flicking through Facebook Watch. And I'll be honest with you, the interface there for voiceover users, I'm using it on an iPhone, isn't great. There's so many different things on there, and sometimes you can access things, sometimes you can't, sometimes things disappear. I noticed yesterday, and I checked again this morning, as I'm swiping through and you get the scrubber at the bottom to, quickly jump through videos, there's an AD button, an audio description button. Now, it's really difficult to find it again. You swipe, I heard AD. Wait, where was it? And it's really difficult to find. But I have found it a few times using Touch, Explore and Touch, or whatever it's called. There is an AD button. Now, I pressed it, and it comes up with original audio and save. Now, I've never managed to get audio description running, but is there now an option in Facebook Watch to add an audio descriptive track to videos, to reels? Yeah, very cool. But I don't know anything about it other to say I heard it's on there and it does something, but not audio description yet. But yeah, it's good to see.
Well, you would need to have the AD track to test.
Yeah, that's right. I kind of thought, is AI taking over everything? Is this going to be AI AD?
But I'm okay with that in that sense.
I'd be okay with that. But if it's not, if there's not anything available, I'd be, PickyBot does exactly that and does a great job.
Yeah, but you think about all the videos that we've said. I mean, the amount of times you just get music playing and you think, okay, well, what's going on here?
Yeah,
what's actually happening in this video?
Uh-huh.
And so, it'd be nice to have, or even if it was able to read text, that was on the screen or whatever it might be, that could really be useful. So, let's be honest about it. It's a bit like the thing, I always see people going on and on and on and on and on about alt text. It's like, please, God, give it up.
Stephen?
Honestly, I'm so sick of hearing about it.
I hate to say it, Stephen Scott, but you're coming across like a alt text hater.
Yes. No, I'm not an alt
recently.
text hater.
Well, that's what it's coming across like.
I'm sick of the kind of poking and the kind of pointing at people and saying, you point. I'm not going to retweet your tweet because you've not put alt text on it. It's like, come on, please.
What?
You honestly
people
believe...
should get into the habit of alt texting.
Look, we have people out there who don't even know what a cane is, who still think that we are in some kind of world where, we can't be educated as blind people. We're pretty much functionless, incapable of anything. And you're expecting people, those same people who are a large majority of the people out there, if I'm honest, and various degrees of that, I understand, people from kindness to rudeness. I mean, there's a whole spectrum. But you expect those people to then go and put alt text on an image. These are the same people, by the way, who don't even understand that blind people can text.
So what do you do about that, Stephen Scott? You know what you do? You politely educate them. Hey, did you know this feature could really help me out and to really engage?
You go for your life.
Well, good. People should. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't just ignore it and hope it sorts itself out or rely on AI, Stephen Scott. How dare you? Oh, that feels better. I've missed that.
It's been nice, isn't it? It's nice to get back. Isn't it? I have to say there's another topic, though, which has really been, leading in the inbox. I've got to say it's been the number one topic in the inbox for a little while now. I'm going to talk about this once because I feel we're going to go into a spiral here and never stop talking about this. I do want to pick up on the topic because it's important and it is very much relevant to this program and this program alone. And that is the question, piano or xylophone? Over to Laura.
You two are funny, Camille says. Lol. And you're both wrong. In the email jingle, both piano and xylophone can be heard. Wow, this is definitely not a topic I envisaged writing to you two about. Lol. Glendon says, well, you guys got me going on this one. First of all, I have to say that instruments are being manipulated a lot these days and sometimes being layered with more than one instrument to achieve a different sound. So I can't say for sure, but I can tell you the sound of the keys that are being played in the emails jingle are definitely hollow. And they're certainly not metal, which rules out the xylophone or bells, which are the tiny keyboards with metal bars that we see being used by marching bands. I would say that the keyboard we are listening to is in fact a marimba in the highest notes, and they are being struck with mallets, and the mallets that are being used here, I'm pretty sure, are long, thin plastic flexible sticks and small, hard, round ball tips on the end, which are used on the bells and xylophone to get a more metallic sound. As for the piano-playing cat, I will say this. Very catchy, spelt C-A-T-C-H-I, lol. So glad that I now have a visual for our catchy emails jingle. A cat playing piano. Well, that's certainly crazy, isn't it? Just as crazy as a cat playing xylophone. Big smile. So, Shaun, you got closer on this one, man. Only the keys are wooden, so it would be a marimba, not a xylophone. Very creative, and I would say genius in having the cat looking like it's playing the piano. I imagine it's a real cat, which is smacking its claws on somebody's piano and not a mechanical cat. Anyway, great stuff, guys, as always, and the production of your show just keeps getting better and better. Yeah. Is there no end to the madness? Lol. And a hearty call out. And respect to all double tappers listening in. Best regards, Glendon. Mary says, hi, Stephen and Shaun. Regarding when opening the email bag, it sounds to me that the jingle starts with a piano followed by a xylophone. Trevor says, xylophone.
So I don't think we've come to any conclusion on this. I don't think anybody can really say for sure what on earth is going on at the beginning of that email jingle.
I think, in the sense of community, we're both right. It's piano, xylophone, maybe a marimba. Who knows? But it's interesting, isn't it?
It's
kind of.
In the spirit of unity, it is whatever you want it to be. There you go.
Is it a mechanical cat or a real cat?
It's a real cat because that video was one of the first. It was one of those early videos on YouTube of a cat playing a piano.
Do you know what? I think it wasn't wearing some sort of suit at the same time, was it?
I don't know what it was wearing, but maybe if we had AI, it could tell us. Maybe that's the next thing. Goodness me, let's not start down this road. But yeah, it is a cat playing a piano. We can tell you it is a real cat.
To everyone for listening
I don't think
to
it's
us.
actually playing the piano, though. Just to be clear, I don't think it actually plays the piano. I think it's pretending to play a piano for the sake of humour.
Hilarity. So are we putting that to bed then, aren't we?
That's it. We're done. Okay. No more piano and xylophone, everyone. Please. I can't read any more emails on this. I'm
so sorry, Laura.
Some other topics, please. When this show gets to this stage, we're having problems. But, listen, thank you so much for all your emails. Thank you for all of them regarding the double tap in Spanish or whatever it was. And piano versus xylophone. The big issues discussed here. Mm-hmm. Not so at the NFB and ACB conventions that have just wrapped up. I'm pretty sure those conversations never came up once.
Really? I'm shocked.
I know. I'm shocked
what
too.
What did come up, Stephen Scott? I've got to say. Yeah. I've been looking around since yesterday, looking through the news. What came up? What am I missing?
Well, it's an interesting year this year because it feels like there's not a lot of new tech around this year. And I was kind of, as we do when it comes to the ACB and the NFB conventions in particular, we're always looking to find out, okay, this is where the big tech companies, big assistive tech companies will announce something new. Sometimes you can get new features, new apps. there wasn't a lot out there. The only thing I spotted, and I went through a lot of the hashtags for NFB and ACB. That was an interesting read. But anyway, we went through all that and found lots of conversation about lots of different things, but not a lot around tech. And there didn't seem to be a lot on show. I think it's a little bit like Site Village was for me this year. A lot of the same technology we've seen before. Now, of course, if you're new to vision loss, this is something which, will be of interest to you. Hugely of interest to you. And actually, it's kind of represented in the type of technology you see at Site Village. I don't think it's the case at NFB, though. Don't know about ACB. Having been at the NFB one, it's a bit different. I would say it's very blind, specific focused, which is good.
Of course. What else would it be?
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's less low vision talk, I think.
Right.
I get that impression. That's the feeling I get.
Yeah.
Less talks, like you'd see less magnifiers and magnification technology there. You'll see more Braille technology at NFB. That's always been my impression.
Yeah.
Not exclusively, of course, but that's how I would frame it. I'd say when you go to something like Site Village, you're going to see a lot more low vision magnification technology. And I think that's probably right. That's the right audience because it's new people coming through the door, essentially, who are desperate to get hands-on with this kind of tech, as much as you'll see all the other stuff as well.
Well, we were speaking to people there who a few people were saying that they only come, every couple of years or every few years because of exactly that, right? You're not expecting to see, a whole new tech every year at these conventions because it just doesn't happen. You do see a lot of the same companies, of course, but also the same technology. But I don't know. There's always, as ever, we saw AI involved in some scanners. We saw some evolution, I will say, rather than revolution, which we usually say about Apple events. But you always see some sort of evolution of the technology, Braille displays, magnifiers and things like that. So, but yeah, we spoke to so many people at Site Village, and I'm sure it's the same at all these conferences, people coming for the first time. And we're just, so interested to get hands-on with the tech, new or not so new.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, though, NFB and ACB are kind of different. Because they are not, technology is part of it, but it's really not the focus of the event. The event is about bringing together their organization, their community. I am jealous a little bit of what they get over there because it does feel like they have a real community. Now, I know there's a lot of issues and I know there's a lot of people who don't agree with it or like it or whatever. I get that. I understand that it's not for everybody. But there is something, and having been in the room, if I'd never experienced it, I would have never understood it. But having been in the room where there's so much passion and so much energy to, fight the cause, when you read about it from afar, it can feel a little bit like, oh, great, we found the advocacy phrase book and everyone's going to use every phrase in here. We can do anything. We can live the life we want. We can do. And in the outside of it, it can feel a little bit, okay, yeah, but really? When you're in it, it's different. It feels different. You do feel. I left very energized after that.
Is
I
it
felt
empowering?
Really, it is empowering. Well, it is, and that is ultimate. That's a
Blind
really important
pride.
word. No, but empowerment's the right word because when you leave, you feel like because that's it. It's almost like they're getting you ready to face the world and think about a better future. Now, whether or not that happens or not, or whether or not it can even happen incrementally or not, it's about getting the mindset. And I think that's where that's very good. Very American, if I'm honest. A very American thing. Because I don't feel that way. I've never been to an event in the UK that's felt anything like that. It's often like, has everyone got their tea and coffee? Is everyone happy? Has everyone got... It's very different.
Is the difference... Does some events feel like they're put on for us rather than by us?
100%. Yeah.
And I always feel like the NFB and ACB are us getting together.
Exactly.
Rather than, I don't know, because you do have BCAB, not BCAB anymore, TAVIP over here in the UK. Which
Technology Association of Visually Impaired People, yeah.
All right, well done.
In case some people wonder.
Yes. Which I think that's the same. That's made by us, for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there is a difference. I think you're right, actually.
It's just the scale. The scale is different.
Yes,
of course,
absolutely.
America's a big country. I don't know if you're aware of this, but it is.
Yeah, thanks.
Don't want to get geographical on you, but
okay.
It's a big place and there's lots of people. But they have obviously the local organisations that are the chapters of NFB. I don't really know how it works with ACB. I guess it's similar, but you have these sort of state level groups and organisations.
Chapters, you're right. Yeah.
And then all that comes together at the National Convention. And it's very interesting to watch from afar. As I say, it's not for everyone, and the organisations are not for everyone. But that has really no effect on what whether or not it should be there or not. The fact is that it's important.
They do,
of course, and it's important work that they do. So yeah, you're right. It's by rather than for.
Yeah,
and there's a big difference in that. Big difference. And I am a little bit jealous of it, because I think that would be something I'd probably be really into that. If you're part of that community, because I do feel it's funny. I hear a lot of people talk about lack of community. And I think it's because in some ways we're kind of conditioned to that in certain places in the world, because there isn't a lot of community. How many times have we heard from people who say, I've never met another blind person, or I don't know another blind person, I don't know where to start. And then if you do, these are often it's often the most capable of us who manage to get out and be part of these groups. Because you have to get through that barrier of getting over the front door, dealing with the social anxiety before you can even think about getting out and joining a group. And then once you've done that, then perhaps that becomes a routine for you, and that's great, but there's still very limited numbers of people. I don't know how. Honestly, I think that was the biggest thing when I was at RNIB. How do you bring people out? How do you get them out? That's the challenge. How do you bring them together to do this?
Well, how do you even make people realise it's a worthwhile thing? For the longest time, I didn't want anything to do with that sort of side of things. I didn't. My parents used to try and take me to the RP Society meetings and things. I didn't want anything to do with it because I just didn't accept it. So I was pushing it away all the time.
See, I had such a different experience. It was weird growing up because my parents almost didn't want to acknowledge the blindness. Like I said this to you before, right? They would say, my mum would tell everyone else that I was blind, but she would never use that word with me. And if I used that word, she would shoo it away. No, you're not. You're fine. You can see. And I always thought that was really interesting. But what she did was she got me involved with a number of groups. I don't know if it was her. I was a kid. I don't know how it all happened. But, I ended up going to groups and things for a lot of different disabilities. Never blindness. It was always different disabilities. I was around deaf people, around kids in wheelchairs, around all kinds of stuff.
Really?
Down syndrome. There was always different groups of disabled people I was around. Never blind people. And there were usually a couple of blind people there, but it was fun. I spent more time with other disabilities than my own. So I don't know if it gave me a kind of warped sense in the future or as I grew up, what was going to happen.
It's still got to be a good thing though, right?
Well, it was in a way, because then, I think what it did do is kind of make me realize that, maybe that's why I never got that individual thing where it was like, I'm blind, therefore these are my issues and this is the only thing that matters and all people should just understand my issues. I think that's where because I saw so many other people with their own issues, with their own challenges, and how people didn't understand that either, and how people with other disabilities didn't understand my disability. And you kind of learned, okay, look, actually none of us really know anything.
Yeah,
we're all just trying to muddle through this thing called life together, right? And we've all got challenges and problems. And if we're just nice to each other and we're kind to each other, that's going to help a little bit towards, understanding. Just listen, just talk to the other person, ask about, what your issues are. So that kind of leveled it. I suppose that's the dream for the world, isn't it? That, you talk about the issues, but, I saw a post on X just today, in fact, of a good guy I know who, he's exactly this situation where someone has, been totally bemused at the fact that he can use a phone.
Yeah.
And this guy's in a very high-powered job.
Yeah.
It's like I text you and you responded, you can't be blind. Yeah. I mean, that's where we're at with a lot of people. So I know that it's hard because like a lot of people will come away from the NFB conventions and ACBs, and like I say, they'll be empowered and they'll feel great, and then they'll tune into this and they'll go, God, here he goes again, dragging us down. And I'm really not trying to drag anyone down, but we have to be realistic. And I think what we have to do is empower ourselves to be able to handle that, because we're never, ever going to get over it. I think the idea that the world is just going to get used to us and get used to our way of lives and deal with us and everything's going to be 100% accessible all the time, I think is an absolute pipe dream. I'm sorry, but I do. I just don't believe we're going to get to that stage.
Yeah, no, of course not. Unless
it's a good aim, and more conversation and more and certainly more of us out there in the workplace or in high positions, even just throughout organizations, as I've said before, that's a good thing, because when people can see past the disability and actually see the capability,
see the person, not the disability.
Exactly.
Oh, well, that's a beautiful line.
That's kind of why I'm kind of against the whole disability pride thing, because I think if you put that in front of things, what it does is you're kind of just making that the identity, whereas we're all so much more than that.
No, I'm not getting dragged into the blind pride thing again, Stephen Scott, but I will say this. I think there's two aspects to it, right? There's the sort of how other people perceive disability. Absolutely, I get that. But you know what it is for me? Like a sight village, or even I used to, as a family, we used to go to a blind hotel for a week or something, and meet up with friends and people there.
You saying did the hotel not have windows? Is that how it was?
Yes,
blind?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. Yes, no views whatsoever. Didn't matter. No, right.
That's prison, isn't it?
The point is, at those sort of events, when you're with the community, I know you love that word, when you're with other blind people or visually impaired people, it falls away. It's not an issue anymore. And you just become people again. This sounds really strange.
No,
but the point is, the blindness isn't a thing. Everyone I met at Sight Village, hey, where's your hand? Let me shake your hand. I'll forget that. Let me just give you a hug, because it's such hard work to find your hand. And people get it. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to feel awkward, because everyone knows, the situation. I love that. And that's not doing anything for the perceptions of others, but it means me as a person, I feel easier. I feel more relaxed. I don't feel that anxiety, that weight anymore. And I love that.
It comes to a key point, I think, out of all of these events that have happened recently. I feel there's always a sense of that empowerment comes with the responsibility to be the advocate all the time. And, I don't know if that's what NFB thinks or ACB thinks, but what I think is, if you can be, please do. But not everyone can. And not everyone wants to. And I certainly don't want to be all the time. I actually almost want to be the opposite of that. People, the amount of times I get approached by interviewers or other podcasts or other shows who want to talk to me about being an advocate. And I always go back to them and say the same thing. If you want to talk about advocacy, there are much better people to speak to. Those are actual advocates. Don't come to me. I'm not an advocate. I'm not. I am me, and I think and I talk about my issues and my thoughts, and I don't want to have that badge of advocate, because then I'm suddenly speaking for everyone else, and I'm not. I don't want to do that.
No, I do.
I don't want that responsibility. I'm sorry, I just don't want it. I want to be me, and it's like you say, I want to be that individual. It's like saying you want to be a celebrity, and everyone wants to be a celebrity, everyone wants to be an Instagram influencer. If you were Taylor Swift, you'd probably hate it right now. Because it's probably not that great a life, right? I mean, the money's nice and all that, but she can't step out her front door. She can't go anywhere herself. She can't just nip down the shops or, head to McDonald's for a nice little bite. She can't do it. What kind of life is that? I don't want that life. I'm not saying I would have had that life. I'm not suggesting that's where I'm going.
Stephen Swift. Sorry.
Stephen Swift over here. Yeah, that's right.
The celebrity. on just nipping somewhere, on travel. Sorry, I'm cutting this conversation dead. I've got to say, Stephen Scott, I got home from our travels. I took my Logitech MX Keys keyboard out of my overstuffed backpack and found that 2 keys were missing.
Oh, wow.
Why, oh why, isn't there such a thing as a keyboard carrying case that someone should invent that I could use when traveling with a keyboard?
New show idea. I'm going to have an idea. Here's the thing. We're going to have a show called I Think You'll Find.
Not I told you so.
We could do that one as well. But I think you'll find I think it's a bit more passive aggressive. I kind of like it. I think you'll find there is such a thing as a case, because you've got the Logitech. Is the MX Keys there?
MX Keys, yes, I love it.
With keys missing, you've ruined it. You've destroyed. I hope Logitech ban you from buying future products.
Well,
I'm going to get in touch with Logitech and we say, don't send him anything.
Logitech, if you can send me replacement keys, that would be great. I've found one, but I can never get it back on. As soon as I put it back on, it clicks in place, but just stays
Falls
down.
Off again. Oh, so, right, okay.
No, yeah, and it does fall off again as well. So
is the key not working at all? So you can't, even without the key.
It is now.
On it.
It wasn't at the time, because there's just a rubber switch underneath, so it wasn't working, but it is now. So I lost the insert key, luckily enough, so I never use it, so it doesn't matter.
How can you live?
And I also lost the device switching key, which is more of a problem. But yeah, I took it out, noticed 2 keys were missing, and I swore. And then I started laughing, so I thought, Stephen's going to love this. Because I always say, just throw it in your bag. What could go wrong?
Bag. What could possibly happen? Yeah, look, I went through all this. I remember the time I had the key, but I had a Logitech, I think it was a G915, not a cheap keyboard. And it was a really nice keyboard, actually. And it was sitting amongst a pile of other keyboards. So it was sitting like sandwiched between. And I trying to pull it out from the pile. And as I'm pulling it out, I could hear, and then the next minute, I get the keyboard out and there's like 15 keys gone. Just everywhere. And you're just like, oh, forget it. That's it. It's ruined.
Now, usually you can just pop them on. And I'm sure there's a way to do it on this one as well. But I've also lost the keycap. So if you can buy replacement ones, let me know.
Email Logitech. They'll probably sort you out with that.
Yeah, I'm sure. That was fun. Sorry. Also, I just noticed today, I just noticed Copilot app on the iPhone now has the camera feature.
Oh, does it now?
Has anyone noticed that?
Nope.
I did see there was a video. You're swiping through when you're doing a live chat in Copilot. There's a video option, and it says it's a button, I think. But I used to double tap and it did nothing. But now, if you keep swiping through, it says camera vision or something like that, on or off. And you can turn it on. And yes, it will describe what it's seeing. And you can also switch between front and back camera. So check that out on the iPhone. A new update to Copilot app now has camera or AI vision, which is always nice.
Shaun Preece, bringing the tech to Double Tap. Well done.
Thank you.
Right, look, stick around after the break. I am going to tell you all about my thoughts on my WeWalk. What's my WeWalk? I like that.
This is Double Tap. We'll be right back.
Hey, Shaun, we've got a newsletter.
Letter with news from Double Tap?
Yes, a letter of news, which I think you need to read, my friend, to keep up to date with what is going on.
I know, I do need to find out what's going on, and this is a great way to do it.
Well, it is, because in the newsletter, you're going to get access to all of our stories, all of our coverage of all the big tech news stories, but also all of the conversations, the interviews we've been having, and even looking back at some great archival content as well, because we've been doing this for a little while.
A long time, yes, and even some exclusive content just for the newsletter subscribers.
That's right, and if you're a keen listener to Double Tap on podcast and YouTube, you might even find some exclusive codes in there as well for your shopping delights. It's not just going to be Stephen that's buying things around here, you know. Check out our newsletter. You can subscribe to it right now by going to doubletaponair.com/subscribe.
That's doubletaponair.com/subscribe.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback at doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
Welcome back. Now, just a quick mention of our Double Tap exclusive feed, which you can get by subscribing to our newsletter, doubletaponair.com/subscribe. You will find a conversation between Shaun and I, along with our good friends Tim Dixon and a new friend, Martin Ralph, who joined us on the Dollop outside of the Site Village building. We had a very nice conversation, didn't we?
We did, yes. It was great to meet up with Martin as well. And Tim. I've got to say this as well. Sorry, I'm going off on so many tangents. Tim Dixon, I salute you, sir, for introducing me to Tail. Oh, what was it called? Share. Scale, thank you. Tail Scale.
I'll keep him right, Tim.
That's TAILSCALE. It allowed me to connect to my home Wi-Fi and, unlike Stephen, unable to get his files because his computer went to sleep, I was able to get into my home network from outside, from Birmingham back to Manchester. It works amazingly well, totally accessible. Tim, thank you so much. Sorry, what were we talking about? The Dollop.
I think you need to do something on that little feature because I want to learn more about it. I'm tempted to get into it, but I don't fully understand it. So I'm suggesting perhaps some kind of, effort from you to maybe show us how it works.
Well, as Tim showed me, I believe Tim should be the one. Over to you, Tim.
Always passing there, but well done. I taught you well.
Very good.
Listen, you mentioned Prime Day to me during the break. I didn't really find anything. on Prime
What?
Day. I know.
There was so much stuff. Was there? No, I didn't either, actually. Sarah did, though. You know, we've been searching. I have a, what's it called? A Roomba vacuum, smart vacuum. Great. Love it. Except mine's on its last legs. It goes for about 30 seconds and then just starts crying because it gets stuck. Its wheels don't work, and I've refurbed it, and no. Anyway, so we needed a new one. So Prime Day, perfect. And Sarah got in touch with me when I was away and said, I found one. I've ordered it. It's coming tomorrow. Great, perfect. Only $100.
Oh.
Yeah, my alarm bell started ringing at that point. $100. Okay, half price it was.
Bear in mind as well, so a Roomba will get you about, what, $1,300?
Yes.
$1,200?
Yes.
Just for comparison? Okay.
Yes, so it's the budget end, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just want it to, trundle off and back up. What's wrong with that? It should be fine.
And also, this technology's been out for a while, so,
yes, they are
much
a
more
lot
mass
cheaper
market now.
I didn't recognise the brand. I can't actually remember the brand. Turned up, there was a fault with the battery.
Oh, you're joking?
No problem. They picked it up, took it back, refunded, ordered again, because you couldn't do, for some reason, a straight swap. So ordered again, new one turned up, problem with the battery. So, that went back. We did order another one just before the end of Prime Day, and we got a Eufy, which is, of course, the brand that is a subset of Anchor. Mm-hmm. So I have heard of Eufy. Obviously, they're quite a big brand. Again, not expensive, slightly more expensive, around $150. So that one's coming tomorrow. So we will find out. But other than that, no, I didn't find anything in Prime Day. I kind of wish I bought a Logitech MX Keys.
You should have got one, yeah.
Other than that, no.
Okay, shall we talk about the WeWalk cane?
I think
that's what people want to hear about, I think.
That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah, because there's not been many reviews, not a huge amount of reviews on this. And it was kind of annoying me a little bit because I was thinking, I really want to understand this cane. How useful is it? Like, I had the very first edition, which, it was bulky, it was big, you couldn't use it in the rain. So I live in Scotland, which meant I could never use it outside.
Hang on. To say you couldn't use it in the rain is a little bit harsh, isn't it?
No, yeah, but it was advised you didn't.
It was advised not to get it wet. I will give you that. Yes.
Which, suggests you probably shouldn't take it out in the rain. I mean,
the Meta Ray-Bans you shouldn't get wet, but they're okay in the rain-ish. But yes, okay. All right.
So
it wasn't, let's be honest, it wasn't great, the first gen.
It was, I think the company themselves even admit that, maybe wasn't, they put a lot of effort into it. They did a lot of great work, but I think it was very focused on the product and what they wanted to achieve. And
it was a proof of concept,
I think they communicated enough for the community prior to its launch. They certainly changed that with the second edition because they sat down, they spent a lot of time. I know they had a lot of events around the country, here in the UK and in other places as well, where they spent a lot of time with people, really understanding what the needs were. And that's what led to WeWalk Smart Cane 2. Now, look, they sent me it. So I'll tell you now, they sent me it, but they did not send me it with any kind of like, you have to do a review or you have to do this or you have to say it's wonderful. None of that. They just sent it out to me and said, let's know how you got on. I've got to say, this is the first time in a very long time that I have actually spent a considerable amount of time reading instruction manuals, learning how the thing works, trying to understand it, like actually doing it properly. Because I was genuinely excited about this. When I arrived in the post on Friday, I was like, right, okay. And I wouldn't normally do a review, and I'm not doing a full review. I will do a proper review, and I'll show you a bit more about it, and we'll get it onto the show, and you can actually listen to it and all the rest and hear how it works. But because there's a lot to talk about. But yeah. I just want to give you a bit of an overview of my sort of first couple of days using it, because I was really excited to get this out on the move. And for one simple reason, because it's a really interesting piece of kit. Now, in terms of the style and design, they've really improved on the first edition, because it's just more like a regular cane. It's not big and bulky. It's, for me, a really nice cane to hold. It's got a really lovely silicone grip, which is nice. It comes in 3 different colors. It comes in grey, dark grey, and black, if that kind of thing bothers you. I think mine is light grey. And
the grip, not the cane.
Yes. Well, yeah, okay. That's right. Just the grip part. And this is another thing, because what people don't realize is you're getting a standard, and this is important, standard Ambutech cane, which you can buy in different lengths from WeWalk themselves, and you can, of course, change it later. And that means you can use the regular Ambutech tips for the cane. So it actually comes with the Pathfinder 360. WeWalk say, if you're going to have the best cane, you might as well have the best tip. And the Pathfinder 360 is very popular with a lot of people. I changed it. I didn't use it because I have used the Pathfinder 360 before. Personally, for me, it's a little bit too hollow and noisy. So when I'm moving around, especially on, as pretty much every street is these days, bad,
not smooth surfaces.
Not smooth at all.
Yes.
It's a very noisy cane, and I don't feel comfortable with that level of noise coming off the cane. But the benefit of it being an Ambitech cane is I can change it. I can just put I just took the tip off my old cane. I had the jumbo roller ball. I put that on it instead, and away I went. So I didn't have to think about that too much.
So just explain that to me again. So you can use any cane with this. So the WeWalk,
not any
canes.
cane.
Okay.
The Ambitech canes are what it works with. Now, it might work with other canes, but I think it's built to work with the Ambitech cane because it actually comes with a little connector. Now, it came pre-built, and I'm kind of glad it did because I have had the experience of trying to put these two together before and not really understood it. But then at that time, I didn't read the instructions, so probably that's why. But, this one came pre-built, and if you were getting it and you were unsure at all, I would probably encourage you to ask them to pre-build it for you. I don't know if it does. Mine's did come that way. But basically it has the cane attached. So the only bit of the cane you don't have is the top part of the cane. That is replaced by the WeWalk. And that is really that's the technology there. That's where everything lives.
Okay.
In terms of weight, in comparison to the first edition, actually I didn't think it was particularly heavy, to be honest. It was just the bulk of the unit that was the issue for me. This is much more like a regular cane. It doesn't feel heavy.
Good.
It's really nice. And for me, especially with the essential tremor and all that, I was really thinking about this. How am I going to cope with using this? But it actually was really nice. And the fact that it's a slightly thicker handle, it's not massively thicker, but it's a little bit thicker. And because of the silicone grip, I actually really liked navigating with it. Now, the cane works by connecting to your smartphone, and they have a WeWalk app that you download. And once you download the app, you can go in, you can set it up. What I will say is the instructions were brilliant. They have everything inside the app. You can download the app before you even buy the cane. You can go and, read the instruction manual, get to know the cane, get to know the layout.
That's nice.
They've even got a YouTube video, which I think they've just taken the audio from. It didn't turn into Spanish, which is good news for me. But they took the YouTube audio and they put that into, They put that into this. So you can get to know the cane. There's a section in the app which you can go to, which is get to know the cane, and it plays the audio, and it just talks you through the whole process, what all the buttons are. And I think it might be Joe, I could be wrong, it might be Joe Afonso from the company who's doing the video, and he just talks you through the whole thing, which is really useful. It's only like 5 minutes, and it just goes through everything you need to know in a very quick summary, but very detailed summary.
So good.
Yeah, and you've also got the full list, as I say, of what each button is doing, what it's there for, and all of that. And very quickly, I got to understand the cane. It took me some time. And of course, I could do all this in the house. I was just sitting with the cane, going through it. Okay, that button's for this, that button's for that, and very quickly learn the functionalities.
How many buttons?
So it's got 4 buttons on the top panel, the bit where you would hold on to or put your index finger as you walk along. There's 4 buttons there, and then below that, further down the cane, you have that obstacle detection sensor.
Yeah.
Which is picking up on anything overhead or basically wherever you're pointing that obstacle detector to. And then below that, you have a flashlight, which is built in as well. It's got its own flashlight built in. You can turn on and off as you wish. On the side of it, there are 2 buttons. One of them is for turning on the obstacle detection mode and also changing the distance that you want the obstacle detector to pick up on. So, for example, if you were in a shopping mall, walking around, you probably want to set it to short because otherwise it would be beeping all the time or vibrating all the time because it's telling you, there's something in front of you, something in front of you, something in front of you, or something ahead of you, something ahead of you. Whereas if you're outside and you've got a further distance between you and anything else, you can set it to mid, which is, I actually preferred mid, and I'll tell you why, because when I was walking around, I was trying to identify and went a particular route, so I would identify where I knew overhanging tree branches were. Just hope no one had chopped them back that day so I could test this out. So yeah, you've got those buttons, and there's another button there which it's just called in the manual an additional button, so perhaps it has a future purpose, but they've got that in there. Now the cane does have ChatGPT built in, and a lot of people make hay of this, but that's, I would say, useful. I don't know how useful that's going to be in the long run. Here's the bit that I'm interested in. once you've connected the cane to the app, which is very easy to do, you do all this through the app itself. You don't have to go into Bluetooth or set anything up. You just turn the cane on, and once you've pressed the power button, which is at the top button, you hold that in, you hear it start up, and then that the cane will actually appear in your list of devices. You can then double tap on it, and it will then activate it and then connect it up, and that's it. It's done. And then once that's done, you can go through various options inside the app. You'll hit, for example, My Places, which is where you can actually store locations like your own home or places of interest that you go to all the time. You can Explore, which means you can check the local area out around you. You can check out transport lines. This is very interesting. So you can check out, what train or buses are around you. It seems to be focused on buses, I think, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. And what else have you got? You've got other functions and stuff in there which allow you to basically save places and explore locations. The thing is, all of this can be accessed via the cane itself. So what you do is on the cane, there's a select button. You press that, and then you're actually controlling the app via the cane, not the phone. It's important to say that. You're not controlling the phone. You're controlling that specific app. So all the things that are in there, the My Places, the transport, the Explore, you can navigate all of that just by using the up and down arrows and select button on the cane itself.
Question.
Go.
What if your phone locks?
Doesn't matter.
You don't need the app open and in the foreground to
No.
be able to navigate around it?
Because the way it works is once you've connected, and this is the key thing, once you've connected the cane to the app, you press the select button to go into the voice menu mode. So it actually sort of connects to the phone for you, does that connection, and then you can start the process of actually navigating. Now, it's smart because it's quick, it's responsive, there's no lag at all, and the audio, most importantly, comes out of your phone. Now, that means that when I was out with my Meta Ray-Bans on, all the audio is coming through my glasses. So I can hear everything coming through. Now, what I did before I left was I set up a location. Using the phone, I set up a location. I set my mum's address as my destination. And I saved it to My Places. So when I left in the morning, all I did was press the select button. That takes me into the voice menu. And then I was able to connect up to the app. So that's the phone and the app connected, phone and the cane connected. And then I was just able to arrow up and down to My Places, select that, select my mum's address, select that, and then it said, go there. And if I want to go there, I can press the button. And then I could choose how. Now, in my case, there was really only one way, which was walking. So there was a route one option, which was to walk. Press select on that, and that's it. I just go. And then the directions begin. And in your ear, it will actually start to talk you through the journey. And I was able to do all of that with the cane. And I have to be honest.
The tension is killing me. How was it?
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Now, look, the navigation takes a little bit getting used to. I guess it's like any navigation, right? So when you get to the point where it'll say, for example, you're going to turn left in 40 meters. Once it tells you to turn, you get to a point where it goes basically turn now. You hear a little sound. It immediately then tells you the instruction for the next part of the journey. So it will say, now turn right in 40 meters. And you think, hang on a minute, where am I? I can't turn right here. So it took me a little bit of getting used to with the navigation. And some people might choose to have Soundscape or Voice Vista running in the background alongside. But in terms of navigation, it was spot on. I did the route a couple of times just to double check everything, and it seemed to work very well. Again, being able to control everything via the cane was really cool. You could even, as you were walking along, you could use the down arrow to navigate through the next steps in the journey. So you would know what you were going to be doing as you carried on down the route. And then it would even tell you how long was left when you would get there. Total distance left, the time you left on the journey. So it's giving you the information that you would get if you were scrolling around the phone, but you didn't have to pull the phone out at all. The audio is coming through my Metas. Everything's coming through the cane, or your control is going through the cane.
Yeah. How's it getting the turn-by-turn information? Is that their own information, or is it opening Google Maps in the background?
I don't know what they're using for navigation. I imagine it might be, is it the Open Street or Open Maps, whatever they call it, the one that people...
Street Maps, yeah. But
the one
you're
that
not
Victor
noticing...
Reader uses, I think.
you're not noticing that other apps are opening alongside that. It's all
No. It's everything's contained inside that app.
Okay. That's
and for
clever.
transport, you could find bus lines. It would even tell you when the next bus was. You can even, this was the best bit for me, you can choose in the route where your stop is in advance, select that stop, and then as you're moving along on the bus, it will tell you when it's time to get off the bus. And I think for me, that was a killer feature because I'm thinking this is a bit a lot of people struggle with when you're using buses. When do I know when to get off?
Well, these aren't all like brand new concepts.
No.
Right? We've seen these in other apps.
Yeah.
But the point is just being able to have the easy access, convenient access to this.
And no need to pull the phone out.
Yeah.
I mean, again, a big deal if you're in a city, right? If you're in a rural area and you feel safe enough to have your phone out in your hand, that's fine. But you can do this with one hand free, which I thought was really cool. Now, in terms of, I've not got a lot of time left, but I'll tell you this quickly with the obstacle navigation. I was able to navigate around the overhanging branches easily using this obstacle navigation for two reasons, I think. One, because instead of having, you can have a haptic, you can have it as a vibration, or you can have it as a beep, which I liked because I don't like the vibration. You can choose it to just beep. And so I chose the beep. And as I was walking up to where I knew the trees were, and I'd set it to mid, so it was, reasonable amount of distance. It started to beep. And as it started to beep, as those beeps started to get a bit more intense, because it goes beep, 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 and then, as soon as it's NVDAing its way towards the tree, I put my hand up, I felt the branches, and then I was able to turn the handle so that I could sense that, okay, from the right, so if I move to the right, there's nothing there, I could then navigate round, and then I just basically used the cane like a torch, almost, to navigate my way using the beeps to navigate around it. I was very impressed. I will say first impressions were good. And I'm going to do some more on this. We'll talk more about it.
That's intriguing.
It's really interesting. Lots of cool stuff, but well worth checking out if even get a demo of it, because I think you might be rather impressed by this cane. I think I will be using this every day. This is my new driver.
Wow. I will say I'm quite surprised, to be honest, because I know we've spoken about technology in traditional mobility aids before, and we sort of questioned it. So
I was cynical. I'm the biggest cynic about this one.
That's why I'm surprised.
I was really surprised. Anyway, look, we are out of time. We're out of time. But we will be back tomorrow, and I'll talk maybe a bit more about it then, and also get into your emails as well. That's it for today, though. Thank you so much for listening. And hola, whatever the alternative to that is goodbye.
Yes. Hola. Bye-bye.